Dubs fans, how are we doing? Golden State Warriors fans, hey, how are we doing? Welcome to C-Train Station. Those of you who are subscribers, thank you so much, and welcome back to C-Train Station. Look, I went on vacation. I did so many things, and the Warriors didn't do anything. Like, I literally drove from California all the way up to Oregon. It drove back, and the Warriors did nothing. I've been on explorations. It feels like I've been on many adventures, and the Warriors have done nothing. But look, no. The Warriors haven't made a single move in free agency. So let's talk about that. And that was it for the little joke or whatever, that the Warriors haven't made any moves and I've done so many things, which is actually true. But let's talk about the actual functionality of that, and not necessarily like the emotion that the Warriors are the only team who hasn't done anything, even though Mike Dunleavy Jr., their general manager, said that we will be active, quote, during free agency. So I think that like the biggest, other than sort of morale a little bit, and that Warriors Twitter/X is like destroying the Warriors front office and manager because of it, which is maybe, I don't know if it might be, it's fine. These are the negatives that I really do see. The tangible negatives that I see is that the Warriors' inability to remedy the Jonathan Kuminga situation means that they missed out on a few prime free agency negotiations. And here's a name who I think that the Warriors legit missed out on: Brook Lopez. I think that Brook Lopez probably would have joined the Golden State Warriors if that was even possible, right? But the Warriors haven't made any deals even possible or available to free agents because they haven't remedied the Jonathan Kuminga situation. That's mind-numbing. The fact that they haven't figured out the Kuminga situation is one of the most damning things that this organization has done in a long time, and that's including trading for an injured GP2, trading away Jordan Poole for absolutely nothing, and his salary slot, and also a first-round draft pick to get rid of Jordan Poole and get nothing back, essentially. It makes the Warriors are going to have to hit on a lot of these free agent acquisitions, on a lot of these acquisitions, right? And it's tough to have full confidence in a front office that said they would be active and they aren't, and also a front office that hasn't made any moves. And so we'll stop again with that. But it's like, I think that they missed out on Brook Lopez, and I think that the Warriors missed out on their ability to really acquire a game changer with their trade exception. Yes, they have an $8.7 million trade exception, the Warriors do, unable to use it, right? Because the Jonathan Kuminga situation hasn't been remedied. A situation that they've had years to plan for, not days, not weeks, not months. The Warriors have had years to plan for the Kuminga situation, and nothing has been done. That's very difficult to take, but we'll move on. And I think that Warriors fans, you can take solace in the fact that I think that the Warriors missed out on Brook Lopez, and that the biggest thing that I think that they really have missed out on this offseason is the ability to trade their trade exception with draft capital for a possible potential game changer. Who's on? Toumani Camara is one player that was on the list. Here's another player that was traded for, I believe, a trade exception and draft capital: Clint Capella. How good would Clint Capella have been on the Warriors? Of course, 15, 20 minutes a game, but he provides your verticality at the rim. He can rebound, and he can bang. Who on the Warriors right now can bang down low? They do not have a player with size that can bang down low. Moving on, though. Will Richard played decently. Let's talk about some Warriors Summer League, okay? Will Richard played decently well in Summer League. Alex Toohey did not, in pretty much any way, shape, or form. Disappointing. Some of my fears were validated and have been validated. It's only after Summer League, though. Summer League doesn't count for a whole lot, but it definitely You can find some trends with players and attributes where players might have that might potentially be of positive impact in the NBA. Some of my fears were validated. Kobe Brea and Maxime Raynaud, who were drafted right around where the Warriors traded down, they look like NBA players. And that's what kills me. I really wanted the Warriors to draft Raynaud, and he looks like an NBA player. And something that the Warriors need, a skilled big man with the potential to stretch the floor and also score down low. They missed out. The Dubs missed out. So while Kobe Brea and Maxime Raynaud look like NBA players, and they're not on the Warriors, players who I wanted the Warriors to draft, Toohey does not at all. Alex Toohey just doesn't look like an NBA player. He needs to work on his body, fitness, quick twitch muscle. I think before anything, honestly, he is not, I do not believe that he has the athletic ability right now to hang. And that's not even, that's like saying that's critical. That's critical right now. Like he needs to work. He needs to work on a lot. And if it weren't, it's like with Alex Toohey, right? If it's not his lack of any type of like NBA or functional player athleticism, it's also just that he turns the ball over a lot, right? Way too many turnovers for a player to be on the Golden State Warriors. I am very disappointed by Alex Toohey's play and disappointed with the Warriors for trading down, and that's who you're going to draft with the trade down. Not good. Not good at all, in my opinion. So we'll see. I still think that the Warriors wanted this guy Markovich, who I believe is represented by Mike Dunleavy Jr.'s brother in terms of agents. I think that they botched the draft. They tried to trade down, and now they're stuck with multiple players that are not NBA caliber, and that is going to be a huge, huge, huge issue when we talk about depth on the Warriors. Will Richard, the guard at the Warriors, you know what? He checks some boxes, but he's a 3-and-D player that can't shoot, that's not shooting well. Will Richard shot 20% from the three-point line. That's not even close to good enough, and I don't even know what to say about that. That's tough. That is tough going. He's going to have to prove that he can shoot the NBA three, and I don't know if he can prove that right now. 20% in the Summer League is not good at all from three-point range. He was a decent three-point shooter at Florida, so that gives you a little bit of hope. But man, he's not like an elite athlete, Will Richard. He's just like a plus athlete with a long wingspan. As I go into this Warriors news and notes update, we'll talk about De'Anthony Melton, and in my opinion, it's just completely duplicating. I think that Will Richard is like the very poor man's version of De'Anthony Melton, and the Warriors may even have De'Anthony Melton on the roster next season. So let's move on. It's just tough. It's tough to take that the Warriors chose a player who really doesn't look NBA ready at all in Alex Toohey, and may never be, and also a 3-and-D player who doesn't three. That's not good. Not good at all. You got to have the 3 and the D in order to be. So we'll move on. It's been a frustrating Warriors offseason, but it's only because they haven't made any moves, and there were a few moves that could have been made, especially early on, that really could have helped. So I think that some things have passed the Warriors by, and that's a little bit difficult. It's rumored, positive news, some positive news. It's rumored that the Warriors have a handshake agreements with De'Anthony Melton and Al Horford, and possibly with Malcolm Brogdon. Let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about De'Anthony Melton. I love De'Anthony Melton. I love his game. However, here's the thing. Melton should have zero expectations. So those of you who ever thinks that De'Anthony Melton would start the year after an ACL injury and surgery, there's no possible way. Absolutely not. This is interesting. It's like, I love Melton. I really love him, but he needs to have a situation where he has zero expectations. And the thing that I think Melton needs the most is time. And I don't think the Warriors necessarily have time. They're against the clock because the window of opportunity, the window to strike for a championship, it probably starts and ends with Stephen Curry, who is not getting any younger. I believe he's going to be 38 next season. We're getting up there, 37, 38. We're getting up there. I like De'Anthony Melton. However, I do not like the situation that he will be brought into. He's looking at the Warriors really needing to depend on him for defense, depend on him to play. And that is, I believe that's unfair. I don't think it's fair. He's coming off of now 2 relatively major injuries. Melton needs time. Melton needs time to even round into form. So I think that Warriors fans are going to need to understand that. Al Horford, let's move on. Is Al Horford an upgrade over Kevon Looney, who the Warriors lost to the New Orleans Pelicans? From a cohesiveness standpoint, he can't be. He cannot be an upgrade. And this is why. You can't replace 10 seasons together on the same team. Steph and Kevon Looney had like 10 seasons together on the same team. You can't replace that cohesiveness. From a talent standpoint, from a scheme standpoint, I really like what Al Horford has to offer. However, Al Horford is 39 years old and also shot 42%, not from 3, but from the field last season. That's very, very bad. The Warriors are looking for players. They're always looking for players who can finish a little bit around the rim. That's why Jimmy Butler, did a good job. He's able to finish a little bit around the rim, and that's actually what Steph said. Steph was like, look, we're almost opposites in that ability. And Jimmy Butler uses my gravity to get open buckets inside. Well, Jimmy Butler's getting older up there, and also he's not a big player. The Warriors still need size. The Warriors don't have size. For whatever Al Horford can do on the Warriors, I almost think that Quentin Post can close to do it in terms of it's like Horford is a better defender than Quentin Post is, but Horford's going to be limited to the fact that he's 39 years old. He's lost a step. That is shown in his shooting ability, in his field goal percentage. So I don't know how much of an upgrade Al Horford is right now than Kevon Looney. And the Warriors needed a big time upgrade, in my opinion. They needed at least an upgrade. Al Horford provides that talent-wise. I don't know if he provides that scheme or fit-wise. And he is diminishing as an athlete. Let's go to Malcolm Brogdon, who is only rumored, okay? I like Malcolm Brogdon a lot, and I like him because he's generally a plus defender. He averages over 10 points per game. He's always averaged over 10 points a game. The Warriors are dying for guys who can at least get you 10 points a game. Honestly, that's why players like Buddy Hield, even Moses Moody, were so invaluable. Their ability to get a few buckets. Malcolm Brogdon can do that, except for that Malcolm Brogdon is a better ball handler. Malcolm Brogdon's ball handling ability will allow Brandon Podziemski to slide into the 2 to 3 position. Yeah, I know. I just said Brandon Podziemski at the small forward / shooting guard. Yes, I believe that that's what he'll play a lot because of his rebounding ability and Brogdon's ability to play up a little bit on defense. So I believe that Malcolm Brogdon would help Brandon Podziemski, specifically allowing Pods to focus on being the elite connector that I think that he is. I believe Brandon Podziemski is an elite connector. That's saying a lot. Manu Ginobili, I believe, was an elite connector, for reference. So, Jonathan Kuminga rumors, always the Kuminga rumors, are now that the Warriors are looking at Ayo Dosunmu of the Chicago Bulls as possible compensation for Jonathan Kuminga. It is now rumored that Jonathan Kuminga wants upwards of $30 million a season and also does not want to come back to the Golden State Warriors. I believe it's Brett Siegel, he has reported that Kuminga and his camp do not want to come back and that they want a long-term contract. I love that. Here's the thing about Ayo Dosunmu. He's coming off of a 4 to 6 month shoulder injury. You really need good shoulders in the NBA. And that scares me that a perimeter player could potentially have shoulder injuries, that any NBA player could potentially have a shoulder injury. I believe it's on his shooting arm as well. I think that Jonathan Kuminga's value, his trade value and his signing value is so low right now that I think that the Warriors would have to attach draft capital for any player, and that's one of the sole things that the Warriors don't want to do is attach draft picks to get rid of Kuminga. I think that they're going to need to. I believe that in order for the Warriors to deal with the Bulls and get Ayo Dosunmu, that the Warriors would have to include a first-round draft pick just to get him. But here's the thing, and I will say this. It is rumored that Josh Giddey's party are getting frustrated with the Bulls. A sign and trade of Kuminga for Giddey would help the Warriors so much. Especially, it's like the Bulls still have a good amount of guards. They have a few guards still, right? They got Kobe White. They got a few, and they still have Ayo Dosunmu, right? So there is still a small market for Kuminga, and Josh Giddey on the Golden State Warriors. For all of his deficiencies. One more thing, I hope that he's okay legally, because that matters to me. I don't want it's not good for the karma of the team or whatever. It's not good for the for the vibes of the team if Josh Giddey has anything up with that. I know he had a few legal issues. If he is over that, past that, and wasn't convicted or anything like that, Josh Giddey would make an amazing Golden State Warrior. He's an ultimate connector, a facilitator. He's taller. He can rebound. He can shoot a little bit. He's got great vision. He can handle the ball. And if I were the Warriors, I would actually trade Kuminga, and I would trade 3 future firsts, but one of those would be a swap just for Josh Giddey, who's also a far better defender than Jonathan Kuminga. Josh Giddey's actually a decent defender who gets his fair share of steals per game. I think that would benefit both teams. I don't even think the Warriors are in that stratosphere right now. I think that ship has sailed. I also think that the fact that Giddey was traded for Caruso, this is going to be so tough. But it's like, if there's an upset, if there's one of those other upset restricted free agents, even like Quentin Grimes, I think that the Warriors should hop all over that potential trade, get one of those players, get rid of Kuminga, who doesn't even want to play on the Warriors anyway. So I do like Ayo Dosunmu. I like Kobe White better, and I like Josh Giddey actually the best if you're talking about Bulls players. So here's the thing. I've speculated a lot. The Warriors haven't done anything. The longer Kuminga lingers, the worse off I believe the Warriors will be. And the longer Kuminga lingers, I believe the higher the price the Warriors will have to pay to eventually get rid of them. What the Warriors did, though, the things that they did, they traded out of their higher second-round draft pick for Alex Toohey and Will Richard. I don't love right now. I like Will Richard. I don't even love him, and I'm not a fan of Alex Toohey, as evidenced by his incredibly erratic and mostly poor play during the summer league. I got to be honest with you. I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna give you the C train omelet, and you know that. But only time will tell. So we play the waiting game, Dub Nation. I know it's tough, but we got to be patient. We have to see what the Warriors actually do before we judge, right? Real quick, one more time. We got to see what the Warriors do before they judge. But one thing that we got to do is like, subscribe, and follow for your Golden State Warriors content. Hey, thanks again. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to those who subscribe, like, and comment. You make the channel as we storm towards 500 subscribers. You can't stop a train. See you next time at the C Train Station. Have a great one.